Hey, best friends. Welcome to the Bestie Advice Podcast. Where we discuss all things relationships.
Welcome back to the Bestie Advice Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our best friend tag.
Yes,
I want to introduce my bestie, my co-host. Hey, Kiran.
Hey, bestie Irene.
So if you had a chance to really get to know us by listening to podcast 1 and podcast 2, that was more so that you guys could get to know who we are. But now we're going to get into some juicy topics, all things friendship. So, Kiran, what are we talking about today?
Today, hey, everybody. Hey, besties out there. Today, we're going to talk about red flags, signs of a toxic friend. A lot of times when we are in relationships, as far as with people, we may not actually recognize some signs or some red flags until we actually read something. We read an article, someone may bring something to our attention, or whatever. So we don't want anybody to be in the dark. We don't want you all to be in these relationships that's not flourishing, these relationships that's not growing, these relationships that's not good for you, or sometimes even good for the other person. So we just want to show you and tell you all about some red flags, some things you actually need to watch out for. Hopefully you won't ever have any of these situations.
No,
none of these things will actually happen in your relationship, but just in case, we just want to bring it to your attention.
So when we're looking at red flags, I would say this is a major red flag. You hear what you shared in secret. Wouldn't you think that's a red flag?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm a private person. Mm-hmm. I am. It takes a lot to pull certain things out of me, especially things that are personal to me, things that may even be going on as far as like in my family or going on in my marriage. I'm very, very careful about what I share in regards to my husband and also to my family. I try to keep those things covered, but sometimes you gotta let it out and you gotta tell somebody. So when you have you're in a relationship as far as with your friend, your guy friend, your girlfriend, or whatever, sometimes you gotta share with them, let them know. You gotta get it off of your chest as far as what's going on. But when you share things and then somebody come around and they say, I heard this about you, or I heard you were going through this, that's a red flag right there as far as that friend that you shared it with. That's a toxic friend. Do you agree with that?
Like, how do you deal with that? Like I'm thinking like how do you deal with that situation? If you've shared something, especially if you're calling this person your best friend, that's different, than an associate, because you're telling them at your own risk. If they're an associate, you're saying it at your own risk. And I've heard people say, oh, you shouldn't say something that you can't repeat again, and all, it's so many things. But we're talking about you're sharing something with whom you consider someone a part of your inner circle.
Yes, your confidant. That's your confidant, your sounding board. Mm-hmm. As far as what I would actually do, first of all, I am going to ask that person, of course, to get clarity. Who did you hear that from? Or whatever. And then they tell me, whoever the person is, and then I'm going directly back to that person. Yeah, I probably have a few choice words. So I'm probably gonna have to pray first, because I shared that with you in confidence. And then here's the thing. I really would have to pray about it first, because the first thing is that you want to kind of go off on them, like, hold on, wait a minute. I said this, I said that. And then you don't even know if that other person was the only person. Like, who else did you share it with?
That's true.
So that's true. I would say I am taking the high road out, and sometimes that's the road we have to take. You got to pray about it first. Ask God to help you ask the Holy Spirit to lead you
Mhm.
before you address that person, so you won't go off. You won't say some things that you can't take back, because once
Yeah.
it's out there. And then after that, to me, I feel that that's where God has kind of opened up your eyes. You know exactly where to put them on your friend shelf. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to bring you down a couple of shelves.
Right. Oh my
Gotta
God.
bring you
Yeah.
down a couple of notches. I thought you were up here on my friend wall. I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to bring you down.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
yes, I would address that. That's not something that you can let slide. That's, to me, it's like a wedge in the relationship when things like
Definitely
that
a red
happen.
flag, like you said. It's definitely
Yes.
a red flag. So I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned the shelf thing, and I know that's something you and
Yes.
I talk about,
Yes.
how we categorize people. And so for you
Yep.
guys that are listening out there, one of the things that Kiran and I have done and we've talked about so many times is um, putting people in the right category. So we just talked about red
Yes.
flag, and
Yes.
you heard something back. Well, that person, you might consider that person your best friend, but really, do they consider you their best friend? So,
Exactly.
you got to see the pros and the cons in that too, because you could be like, oh,
Yes.
that's my best friend, and they might not feel the same way about you. And so
Yes.
we have developed this thing where we put people in categories, and that's okay, because you might have
Yes.
your home girl, like your bestie.
Yes.
They're a part of your inner circle and they're on the top shelf, and then you have some
Yes.
other girlfriends that you're close with. You might not consider them your best friend, but you guys are really close. They might be on this little corner right here, and then you have your
Exactly.
associates.
They on
So
shelf
I
two
think
or three.
exactly, and I think when
Yes.
you don't properly put people um in your life where they should be, you're
Yes.
gonna have a lot of red flags, because you're just gonna think everybody is your
Yes.
friend and you can share
Yes.
everything, and that's not true.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to kind of expound a little bit on the
Yes.
shelving. We're using shelf, but
Yes. It's
it's
like
really
yes. No, no, that's exactly. I'm not trying to go deeper or anything like that, but a lot of times that's the way God shows me. That He shows me things in the natural, and I look at it as a wall. So you know how people have pictures like on the wall,
yeah.
or some people actually have like shelving units on a
Yes.
wall.
Yes.
So that's how I look at when it comes to friendships. Okay, so for those of us, or those of you all who may be married, your husband actually should be up there on the top.
Oh,
That was a
definitely. He's
tip. Look, that was a tip right
absolutely.
there for those who husbands might not be, but he should actually be up there at the top. Or for males, your wives should be up there at the top. And then below that, that's where you have like your best friends, your really 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 close friends. And then somebody else, or whatever, people that you're cool with, but you're not cool like that with them, or whatever. You may go out and go to a movie, have dinner, or whatever. They may come down to maybe shelf three. Then you
Yeah.
have like your associates, your co-workers, etc. And then sometimes, when things may happen, it might not even be the situation where someone may repeat something, just whatever it may be. You got to kind of switch people around. You're not dissolving the relationship. You're
Right.
just
Right.
moving them around.
Right.
And I do believe that that's a conversation that you have to have, as far as just going back to something that you said, Irene. That's a conversation that you have to have as far as with your friends. You got to be on the same page, because in my mind, you're my best friend. But in your mind, I'm just an associate. So
Girl,
we gotta
no.
even be on the same page, or you're gonna be disappointed. You're gonna
Girl,
be
yes.
disappointed.
And I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you something. I have
Yeah.
witnessed that. Thank God that has never
Yeah.
happened to me. But I'm gonna tell you,
Yes.
I was standing there, like witnessing
Yeah.
when someone was calling someone else their best friend, and the girl turned around and said, I might be your best friend, but you're not my best friend. I was like, wait, hold on. You know,
Yes. That's disappointing.
it is very disappointing, and I'm so glad.
Yes.
I mean, I seen it at an early age. I was in high school at the time. I'm
Yeah.
so glad, because that really that made an impression on me. Like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm never gonna use that word all willy nilly, and I'm
Exactly.
never gonna
Exactly.
be saying that. And oh, you my best friend, and that I'm like so
Yeah.
careful with that, because just like how you should be careful, with when you think about a relationship with a man, you got to think the same way with friendships, who you're giving your
Exactly.
heart to,
Yes.
because like, it's like, okay, a red flag is you heard what you said back. I know my husband Mitchell, I've shared all kind of things with him about
Yeah.
myself, my family,
Exactly.
private
Yes.
things. He ain't told nobody. So if
Exactly.
I'm calling you my best friend and I'm sharing something with you,
Yes.
I wouldn't expect that to get out either. So that's
No.
absolutely a
No.
red flag.
No.
Say that's a red
No.
flag even with an associate. I just,
Any to me, anybody, and
if
that's
I
why you
tell
have
you
to.
something and I don't,
Yes.
I'm sharing it at my risk, because I know for me, I make a mental note. If I hear it back, I'll be like, note to self, don't tell her nothing else.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And then here's the thing. It's like, some people may think, and to me, I don't think you should do this, but some people do. Like they kind of test the waters. They'll throw something out
Oh
there
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to see if you're gonna repeat it. It's kind of like if you gotta do that, then that's not the one.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how I feel. If you
that's
gotta
true.
throw something, let me just see what she gonna do with this information. Then no, that's not the one. Don't play those games. Don't play those
Yeah,
games. That person is not the one, or it's not meant for you to share whatever it is with he or
no,
she. That's
that's true.
just me.
That's true.
So here's another. Here's another one. You feel you have to give a disclaimer before sharing anything. So when I say you feel you have to give a disclaimer before sharing anything, you're telling the person, girl, I'm about to tell you something. Please don't tell anybody. Girl, I ain't gonna tell nobody. No, no, no.
And you gotta
Don't
beg
tell
them
anybody.
not
Don't
to say
tell,
something.
look, don't tell Jan, don't tell Marsha, don't tell Peter Greg, don't tell your mama. When you gotta go through all of that, that
When
ain't
you
the one.
do, then that's a red flag. That's a
That
red.
means you're not comfortable. We got to throw disclaimers out there. That means you're not comfortable with sharing what you're sharing with that person.
What I think I've heard before, that one person always tell one person, like, oh, it's a rule that one person can tell one person.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No,
Exactly.
no, no, no.
Exactly. Right. Right. Absolutely. No.
Um,
No.
yeah,
Forget all the disclaimers. Mm-mm.
you have to give out a disclaimer, then think twice about. And sometimes,
Yes.
you get so used to doing it. I'm gonna tell you something. Don't share it.
Yeah.
You get so used to saying it because loyalty is not common a lot of times. And
Exactly.
I go back to, if you said something, you have to be ready to repeat it. And that's
Yeah.
something I hate, the game of telephone, or the game
Oh
of sharing something with
yes.
somebody.
Yes.
And by the time the other person gets it, it ain't even what you said. The context
Yes.
is wrong. And that's
Exactly.
happened to me. And I'm like, wait, what? No. Oh, I didn't say it like that. And then once I have to start explaining myself, I'm done.
Exactly.
Like,
I
I
know.
have tapped all the way out. I don't even know where this relationship is going now, because I'm officially over it.
Exactly. 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 If anything, if you're in a relationship with the right friend, if you should be saying anything, it should be, girl, I'm gonna need you to brace yourself
I know.
for what I'm about to tell you. Put it on lock, put the seatbelt on, because I'm getting ready to blow your mind. That's it. If it's anything you need to say, if that should be the only disclaimer. Brace yourself for what I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
Other than that, mm-mm, it's nothing else. It's
And I
nothing
think
else.
we shared a little bit about the journey of our friendship in
Yeah.
the first two podcasts. So go back and listen to them. We share a lot of
Yes.
funny things and little quirks about who we are. But thinking about the journey of our friendship, I can't really think of too many times when we've had to stop and say, don't say anything, and or I've heard anything back or anything like that. And I think
Yes.
because we built our friendship so organically, we didn't rush into a friendship. Actually,
Right. Yes.
several situations caused us to kind of confide in each other.
Exactly.
And that was a test
Exactly.
within itself, because you could have took the information I shared with you and went on
Yes.
that. I could have took the information, but instead it was like, no. And we became each other's safe place.
Exactly. Yes, yes. That is a part of our journey. And it's funny because I was thinking the other day, I'm like, okay, so when when you hear people and they talk about, they've been in relationships with people who it's so, for so many years or whatever, they talk about the good times, they talk about the not so good times, they talk about their big blowouts. And I'm like, hmm, well, Irene and I, we never really have had a blowout. It's like, I'm not talking to her for a week. She better not say nothing to me, whatever. We've never been at that place. So I was really sitting there like, are we really friends? Well, I tell you, I was really analyzing like our friendship, like, dang, we've never been down that road and we've been
Never.
friends for a long time. The
Mm-mm.
Holy Spirit had to check me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all out there. Not trying to go deep again. But the Holy Spirit had to check me like, no, that's a part of the journey of your friendships. Just think about it. So I
Yeah.
have to think about the fact is when it comes to us and our actual friendship, that whole journey, when we started off, and we talked about this in our first couple of episodes, that we were cool, but we didn't come in like we just clicked and we
Right.
were best friends that first day. No, it took years to build that. We've always been cool from the
Yeah.
beginning. We
Always.
were cool. But as far as the closeness, that was a journey. That took
That
a while
really
as far
was
as
a
for us to
journey.
actually come together.
Yeah.
Yes, and because the fact is, I have my own set of friends. You had your own set of friends or whatever. And then as we came close together, we still had our own set of
The
friends.
friends. Yeah.
But when we would talk and we would share, we would say, okay, I didn't like, when this happened. I didn't like when that person said that to me. And that hurt my feelings, and that right there, that didn't make me feel good or whatever. So then we kind of learned about each other where it's like, okay,
Personality. Mm-hmm.
exactly learn each other personalities, like, okay, that's a pet peeve of her. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to offend her. I'm not going to say that to her. I'm not going to
Yeah.
address her,
Yeah.
that way or whatever. So it's like it's all a part of that journey, learning each other through other friendships. What a coincidence. But we learned about each other through other friendships.
Oh
And
my God.
I value,
Yeah.
Irene, all of our friendships. My friendships, yours. I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
any friendship that I have had, I can say, oh, I wish I was never friends with that person. No, I value every single one of my friendships from grammar school to now because it was a part of the building. It was a
Oh
building block.
I
It
agree.
was a building block. Yeah.
No, I definitely, that's a good point. I agree. I value all of the friendships I had, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it helped build my character. It
Absolutely.
helped me, become the person that I am, and help me
Yes.
on this
Yes.
journey, called
Yes.
life. And, even thinking about that, I was sharing with you how you have to have Judas around you. That you have to, that's something I'm like, I remember seasons
Yeah.
of tears. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Lord was like, I'm gonna keep you on your face. I'm gonna keep
Yes.
you.
Yes.
I got to develop this character. I got to get you where I'm calling you to be. And so it's
Yes.
okay. It's
Yeah.
truly okay um to have all different types of people, because that's going to help, you grow. It's definitely, you have to have all types to really, grow as a person, as a woman, to
Yeah.
walk into your destiny. Everybody you meet isn't going to be your best friend. And I had to learn that the hard way. Like, oh, this
Yes.
person, they cool. And it's like God was like, no, that's a reason friendship. That, don't worry about it. Oh no, that's
Exactly.
not gonna be too long,
Yeah.
but like you said, we had this journey, and then, going into like another uh red flag, you and
Yeah.
you talked about how you had your set of friends, I have my set of friends,
Yes.
but when we talked, it was just about me and you never talked
Exactly.
about your set of friends negatively. I never talked to you about my set of friends
Yeah.
negatively. You and I would talk, and we might have advice for each other. We might
Exactly.
share with each other, but it was never, negativeness, and
Exactly.
that's the one thing I love about you, Karen, is you're not a negative person at
Yeah.
all. You are factual and
Yeah.
extremely truthful, but you are not negative. You tell it like it is, but you tell it like it is in a way that's loving, that, hey,
Yes.
this is just reality. I'm not being
Yeah.
mean, and you don't come across mean. You're not negative. And I think that sometimes people can be negative or pessimistic, and that's not your personality at all,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
leads me to another flag,
Hmm.
red flag, when he or she wants to control your other friendships. That
Yes.
is a red
Yes.
flag. And I detect.
That's a major. That's a major flag, because when you think about, unless you've been friends with the person since birth, like straight out your mama's womb, you're gonna have friend. Hopefully, you would have had friends, prior
Mhm.
to, or continue to still have friends
Yeah.
once you decide, okay, this person right here, this is my closest friend, or whatever. So when one of the red flags is kind of like, okay, you're in this relationship, this friendship with this person, and then you're friends with other people, and they're downing those other people, and
Yeah.
they're saying, well, why are you friends with her, why are you friends with him, I don't like him, I don't like her, me, it should just be me and you don't need them. No, that's the spirit of control.
That is.
You're not gonna control me and who I'm friends with. So when you start seeing those signs where they're asking you, well, why you gotta hang with that person, and why you not hanging with me, and red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, no, that person is trying to control you
That
and who
sounds
you
like
can be
a
friends
relationship.
with.
Yeah.
Right? And you're grown. You're grown. You gotta remember that. Like, hold on, I'm a grown man. I'm a grown woman.
Right.
Like, no, we're not gonna do that. Mm-mm.
So, what advice would you give to someone that was dealing with a controlling friend?
Exactly that.
Get out.
You're not gonna control me. I'm grown. No, first of all, you need to find out, like, okay, girl, like, what's going on?
Hmm.
This is my friend. And here's another thing, Irene. Um, the friends might not ever come together.
They
And that
don't have
is
to. Right.
okay. Yes. So it's like, okay, me and we have this good friendship, but it's okay to have friendships with other people. So you need to ask him or her, like, okay, like, what's going on? Like, why don't you like him? Well, I just don't like her. Why? So if they continue to go down that road, because again, you're loyal to both people,
Right. 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 Right.
so
Right.
now you got to decide, like, okay, me and you, we cool. We've been friends for however many years. And if you value that friendship, then you really need to tell that person, hey, what we're not going to do from this point on is talk about that person.
Right.
That's it. It's just me and you. We're going to talk about us. We're going to talk about our goals. We're going to talk about what we doing, whatever. We're going to talk about, what movie we're going to see. We're not going to talk about them anymore. Okay. We're going to cut all it off.
Because
If they can't accept that, you said,
people
what
bond
now?
to talk about you. People become
Yes.
friends because they want to go after you. And so then it's like,
Exactly.
that's what you have in common. It's like that's
Exactly. Being
a
an ally.
red flag.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
definitely a red flag. But yeah, when you are in a friendship and they want to control your other friends, control you,
Yes.
control where you go, control,
Yes.
we're not going to eat here, we're going there, and they're trying to tell you what to do.
Exactly.
It's almost a form of being in a relationship. You wouldn't say in an abusive relationship when a guy or a girl is trying to control you. So you shouldn't
Yeah.
do the same thing in a friendship. And like you said, Kieran, I would question that person, like trying to figure out where is that coming from. And oftentimes it's from a spirit of rejection. And
It
they're
is.
afraid, oh, like I need this friend. So I'm afraid that if that I might lose this friend to someone else. And that
Yeah.
lets me know that you need to get deeper roots in that friendship, because the one thing
Yeah.
I can say about you and I is we've been friends for years, and I don't
Yes.
feel no kind of way about you being friends with anybody else, because I
Exactly. Yeah.
understand our relationship. So it
Yes.
doesn't make me a difference how many other friends you have, if you're hanging out with this person, that person, this person,
Yep.
that person. It doesn't change the fact what we got going on, our friendship, our
Yes,
relationship has
absolutely.
nothing to do with that. And so
Absolutely.
I would never try to control that. And I think that if you're, those of you that are listening, if you find yourself in a situation where you're struggling in that area, you're struggling with a friendship where they're jealous of your other friends, they're trying to control you, you need to
Yes.
sit down and have that conversation, because you might need to cut that relationship.
Absolutely.
No.
Yes. Yes. And I just want to piggyback on something that you said. I think we're really quick to cut people off.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you
Oh
do really
yeah.
have to sit down and evaluate that friendship to find out, like, okay, do I really value this person? Do I value the friendship? If
Yeah.
you value that person and that friendship, have that conversation and do it
Absolutely.
immediately. Like, don't wait. Don't say, okay, I'm gonna wait till the next time she do it. I'm
No.
gonna wait until the next time he says something about, that person or that situation. No, do it immediately.
Immediately. I
And
agree.
then make sure you coming in the right spirit as far as like when you do it or whatever, because
Right.
you don't want them to, like, be on the defense, or whatever. So yeah, I agree. I agree. You should have
Take
that
the,
conversation, but don't be quick to cut them off.
no,
Yeah,
no, because we're in such a cancel culture, and
man,
I
big
hate
time.
that because people make
Yes,
mistakes, and things can be rectified with having a conversation. You can have a
yes,
conversation with the person and try to figure out what's going on. And somebody, that friend might need to be reassured, like, hey, you my girl, you ain't got to worry about whatever.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
so, but then I still, like you said, you still want to pay attention to the antennas. If someone is trying to
yes,
control every little thing you do,
yes,
that's a red flag, where you
absolutely.
can't make a decision and you're the follower and they're the leader, that's no, like you said, nobody can control you, not
No.
no. So I definitely agree with that. We hope you enjoyed part 1, red flags, signs of a toxic friend. Be sure to join us for part 2. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.